welcome to my Q&A Sunday. I was going to do this outside with some flowers and stuff behind me, but it's a little bit windy, so I just want to make sure that you can hear me, so it's best that we do it in the shed. Got my cup of tea, and I've got my sheet questions. So, you guys have been asking me some questions during the week for my Q&A, and I've got them here. I'm just going to get on with it, basically. First question is from Graham Thomas, and he asks, how long did you have to wait for your allotment, and have you always been interested in growing, and what is your favourite crop to grow? So, first, let's go with the first one. Is how long did you have to wait for your allotment? Now I know in some areas there are some big long waiting lists, but here in Clacton-on-Sea I didn't have to wait at all for my allotment. As soon as I decided that I wanted one, I went about finding out where the allotments were and who they were run by. This one is a privately run, committee run. It's not a council run allotment. And there's actually two sites that are run by the same committee. And the first one I went to, because that's it's quite open and I knew where that one was, I just asked there, and they didn't actually have any plots available on that site, but they told me that they obviously had this site as well, and there were plots available here. So I just came down, spoke to the overseer on the Sunday. He walked me round straight away, showed me the plots that were available, and I chose one, and it was mine. That was in September, October. I think it was about October 2015. Because it was so late on in the year, I didn't have to pay anything until the rents were due in on the Monday. in the January of the following year. So yeah, I didn't have to wait for my allotment at all. And there are still some empty plots here as well, so anybody in the Clacton area fancies a plot, get in contact with me and I will fix you up with a plot down here. So the next question he asked was, oh, have I always been interested in growing? No, would have to be my answer to that. I mean, I've always liked to have a garden, and grow some flowers and that sort of thing, but I've never really thought about growing my own food until 2014, I think it was. Yeah, it would have been 2014, and what happened was me and my significant other took a trip to a garden centre, and at that time they had quite a few bits for reduced, you know, for sale, and one of those things was a gooseberry bush, and he suggested to me that I get one because he likes gooseberries. Now I only had a small garden at the time. Sorry, just drink my tea. But I got it, I planted it. No, there was also, that was it, there was a tomato plant that was sort of looking a bit wilty, for 50p. So as well as the gooseberry, yeah, that was it, as well as the gooseberry, I bought this tomato plant for 50p, and I managed to nurse it back to health, and it produced me a few tomatoes that year. The gooseberry bush didn't really, you know, didn't really do much because I wasn't there that long. But yeah, that was it really. That was what got me into it, was the gooseberry bush and the tomato plant. After that, I then was given some strawberry plants by my mum, because she just grows a few strawberries in her garden, and yeah, it just went from there. I grew a few things in pots at home, and then that was in 2014 and 15, just like some potatoes, strawberries and tomatoes. And then I decided to get the allotment. So no, I haven't always been interested in growing. And next was what is your favourite crop to grow? My favourite crop to grow has to be the sweet corn. But also I'm going to add on to that carrots for this year, because as I've mentioned in previous videos, I've not been able to grow carrots before. This year I have a fantastic crop of carrots, and I think carrots and potatoes, root vegetables, you know, it's nice to have that surprise of what's underneath. So yeah, carrots and sweet corn and potatoes. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Graham. Now the next question is from Lynn Pulver, and she says, your plot is really productive. What fertilisers and feeds do you use? Sorry, I've got a swig of my tea. Oh right, yes, so I wrote this down because it's not easy to think off the top of your head. Right, so I use blood, fish and bone, which is what most gardeners use really. Bone meal, so this bone meal here. Chicken manure pellets, I tend to use a lot of those. Horse manure, organic liquid seaweed, so that's a Doff one that I have there, liquid seaweed. Organic Miracle-Gro plant food, right, so that's this one here, you can see that there. It is Miracle-Gro, but it's the organic choice there, and that's for anything really. I've used it on pretty much everything, tomatoes, fruit, vegetables, and you can probably use that for flowers as well. Plant food, spent coffee grounds. Now I go to my local Costa and they will just give me a massive great big bag of spent coffee grounds for free, and that's a really good nitrogen source, and I use that definitely on with my sweet corn. I've used it with a few things, mainly the sweet corn, but I've chucked it in with some of the brassicas, the beans and the peas. So I have a citrus feed for the lemon tree. I also use, potato fertiliser. I've used some of this. This is an organic potato fertiliser, and I just chuck a few, like a bit of a handful or so of those in when I plant potatoes. I have once used pure nitrogen crystals, and that was on my Tumbling Tom tomato plant at home because it was really sickly, so I gave it a boost. I've only ever once used that, and I wouldn't know where you get them from because I was given them from another plot neighbour. I was given just a little pot full. So and then the other thing I use is root boost powder. I used that when I moved the grapevines and I used that when I took the grapevine cuttings as well. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. Now most of that stuff is organic. I do tend to go for the organic. I am not organic because I use slug pellets, and I know that this plot 25, the new plot, was sprayed with weed killer quite a lot before I took it on. So, you know, I can't say that I'm organic, but I do like to be as organic as possible, and I don't use pesticides on my crops unless they're organic ones, which even then I rarely use those. So I hope that answers your question, Lynn. Right, so the next question is from Mike Hurdis, and he asks, how much do you pay each year for your allotment? How many hours would you say you spend on the plot each week, and what's the best thing about having the plot? So I pay, well, it's £20 a year for a 10-rod plot. Obviously I've got two 10-rod plots, so I will now be paying £40 a year, and that includes the use of the water pumps throughout the summer. They are turned off in the winter months, but yeah, so that is, I think that's a really good price, because I know some places are really, you know, in the hundreds, so it's not a lot at all. Oh, and when you take on the plot as well, here you pay £15 joining fee. I think that just covers like the cost of your key, admin, you know, list your rule book and that sort of thing. And he also asks, how many hours would I say I spend on the plot? I'd probably say on average about 4 hours a day. So whatever that adds up to in a week, I don't know. Obviously that's, I spend longer here during the busy months, so March, April, May. March obviously preparing your ground ready for planting, and then April and May you know, planting out, I guess, and then there's less time in the winter months, but yeah, I suppose it averages about 4 hours a day. And what's the best thing about having the plot? Growing my own food, obviously, I would say is the best thing. Also, just, I don't know really, I just love coming here and just spending time sometimes just looking around at nature, looking at the bees in the flowers and the birds. It's just a nice tranquil place to come and sit and gather your thoughts, really, with the added bonus of taking home some lovely food. Okay, so and the fourth and final question comes from Invented Door, and she asks, how many types of fruit and veg are you growing on both your plots? So the answer to that question is 47. But as you can see there, I have had to write down everything that I'm growing, and some of you may want to know, some of you may not, so obviously if this bit's boring for you, then you can go and make a cup of tea or something, but I'm going to read out, let me have a swig of my tea. I'm going to read out everything that I'm growing. So, are you ready? Tomatoes, peppers, aubergines, cucumbers, French beans, borlotti beans, kiwi, lemon, grapes, lettuce, onions, potatoes, cherries, kale, beetroot, radish, spring onions, carrots, courgettes, chard, spinach, raspberries, cauliflower, soybeans, cabbage, broccoli, peas, sweet corn, okra, celery, parsnips, rhubarb, currants, squash, that's butternut squash, turnips, Brussels sprouts, swede, gherkins, Jerusalem artichoke, garlic, gooseberries I put a question mark by. I have gooseberry bushes in the fruit area, but they haven't given me any fruit yet, which I don't expect them to because I've only just planted them. So apples, my new apple tree, leeks, melons, shallots, sweet potatoes, bush beans and strawberries. Now a little bit of a secret, Invented Door is actually my mum. And she had to ask me a question that I really had to do my homework on, so thank you for that, Mum. So there we go. There's your questions. I hope I've answered them all okay for you. Drink my tea again. Lovely. It's actually quite a nice day today, and it looks like we're not due any more rain. Fingers crossed, because I've had enough of the rain now. Just managed to finish getting my compost bin built, so I've done a video of that for you, which I'll put up at some point during the week. I'm going to be harvesting some more sweet corn today, and some more potatoes. The Charlottes really need to come up now. The plants are dying, and yeah, I don't want slugs with all rain and everything. I don't want slugs and that eating the potatoes, so I'm going to dig the rest of those up today. I've also got the other plot tour. So I've already posted this plot 25. That's already gone up, and then I've got plot 65. That'll be going up in the next couple of days as well. I've started a Facebook page as well, where I'm hopefully going to be doing daily updates, so pictures and, you know, just what I've been getting on, what I've been getting up to on the plot. So if you have Facebook and you want to join my Facebook page, you can also ask questions and talk to other growers, post your pictures or videos, etc. I'll leave the link for that in the description down below. And yeah, that's it really. Thank you to everybody for watching, for liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing. There's going to be more things during autumn that I'll be doing, so I've got a few trees and bushes to be moving to the fruit area, so I'll be videoing those and posting those up once I find a new editing software package thing, because YouTube are getting rid of theirs, so it says, on the 20th of September. So if anybody doesn't know that, I mean, on mine it comes up on the top of my thing, but yeah, if anybody that uses the YouTube editor, I think they're getting rid of it, so I need to find a new one. Yeah, I'll be doing something rather with the side of the shed here where all the nettles are, wildlife area, during autumn, and obviously planting out the overwintering crops like onions and garlic and peas and that sort of thing. So yeah, there was still plenty more to come. I mean, we're sort of coming towards the, well, it feels like we're coming towards the end of the season. I think that's because the weather's been so miserable the last week or two. But we're not, because there's still loads going on. And but it is obviously a lot quieter this time of year than it has been previous months. So like April, May, June, where we were busy planting out and all that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I'm going to go, and I will catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching. See you later.